Let's move straight to our next conversation. Pay up or lose it. That's the message from the Federal Capital Territory Administration, FCTA, following the issuance of a 14-day ultimatum to defaulters to settle unpaid ground rent or risk land title revocation in Abuja. Over 3,300 plots across prime Abuja areas, including Maitama, Asokoro and Wuse, are affected. Defaulters of the rent include military bodies, foreign embassies like Canada, India and Saudi Arabia, and government agencies, liaison officers of several states, and even a former minister of FCT, Gado Nasco, are also on the list. The rent arrears span 2014 to 2024, with landowners warned that their right or certificate of occupancy could be revoked if unpaid. Yes, the FCTA reading out a riot act to ground rent defaulters. And also the one that got me that got me shocked was a former FCT minister, also part of the defaulters. I mean, talk to me, your thoughts on
that's
this.
where the problem started from. The problem started from the fact that there had been minimal or no enforcement. So the thing had piled up. And when it had piled up, grammatically or mathematically speaking, you will wonder 7 million for the where PDP house is situated, because it's not PDP that should pay. Just for
the
emphasis,
owner of the building.
You know, but what people have said is you could have given the money to the owner and pay. So it's been a case of flagrant violation of laws. There's been a case of, I am a landlord now, why should I be paying rent? I'm talking of our mindset. Even me, I was very, in fact, in Ogun State, where I stay, it became a topic. For a long time, many of us did not realize we need to be paying ground rent because we've not been getting regular notice. Some of us
is it
are
ground rent
ignorant.
or tenement rates?
I think they call it ground rent. Now, in state is tenement rate. Okay, so that's where the mix-up is. So people brought it up and people were like, I'm not aware of, maybe they are reminding us of the action of Wike.
Okay.
So if Wike is a memory jogger, then we should celebrate him.
Sure.
It's a way of saying that no one is above the law. And if you watch that interview, it was very specific. There's no poor person living in these areas.
Not in Asokoro, definitely.
Not in Asokoro, not in and those areas.
But we are not the accountants, though.
No,
I'm
telling you with authority.
I'm quoting him now.
No, I'm just trying to play the devil's advocate.
Now you won't get land for that area. So I think let people come from their high horse. Obviously, they can afford this money and they can pay. They should not see as Wike being stubborn or being daredevil. It's about saying that things have changed and things must change.
True.
And we must take it like beyond Wike, beyond this tenure, put it as part of your yearly expenses. You know, pay this money.
It can even be negotiated. Doesn't mean you have to pay everything at once.
Exactly.
But the question is, why do we have so many defaulters? Is it a case of ignorance? Is it a case of lack of awareness or just daring the system? I'm a big man, I can't.
There's a tendency for, I don't want to use the word big man, for our leaders. There's a tendency to believe
Above the law.
they're above the law. It's a tendency. It's not like today, as the driver was bringing me, the level of driving when we got to VI was terrible. Because everybody just assumed they're above the law. Things that people will not do on the mainland, people do it here flagrantly. Because they assume nobody will touch them.
Who's the road safety officer?
Because they know,
You know who I am?
They can always pick up the phone and call the commissioner of police and all.
I'll call the governor.
What Wike is doing, to me, has opened our eyes to the fact that FCT DA has no reason to be poor. They are sitting on a gold mine. And you cannot have that quality. That's about the most profitable real estate outside Lagos in Nigeria. So FCTA should not have a reason not to have on their budget or income billions of naira. Because all over the world, there are people who live areas they can no longer afford. and sell the house because the money you pay for taxes is more than what you can afford. They simply will sell it and move to a lesser place. In Nigeria, it's a nego problem.
Oh, okay.
And we run into trouble of people saying, I must live in this neighborhood, I must live in this environment.
And some people feel it's a spiritual attack.
maybe somebody
to move from here to there.
No, you are correct, because I know there was a breakout of arguments in my neighborhood when somebody said I live at where I'm living. And they said no. The GKB, they know. He's living at ABCD because how can they appear on TV every day? And they live in this area. And I know somebody will be at our level who will also be thinking the same. I should not be living there. But I've been living there for 24 years. I raised all my children there. At 60, where am I going? Who am I trying to impress? But it's the mindset of the Nigerian rich man that unless he lives in Aso Rock, he lives in Asokoro, or lives in VI, he has not made it. Meanwhile, he could do more for less. I know a guy who paid good money.
Okay. All right, Chike, just hold that thought. We have Abitoye calling in from Abuja. Abitoye, thank you so much for joining us. Hello, you're live. Okay. All
Hello?
right. Yeah, Abitoye, let's talk.
Okay. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening to you.
Yeah, I actually want to appreciate the good work you guys are doing in the studio. Hello?
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay. I just want to contribute to the issue of Wiki.
Okay.
Wiki has been doing very great in Abuja. Wonderfully well. And the issue of there is no poor people in Asokoro and Metama, that's not true. If you look at when Abuja starts from, when they transfer from people from Lagos down to Abuja, there are people that bought houses as a civil servant in areas like in Wuse and in Wuse 2 and Metama area. All those areas are majorly for civil servants. And if you look at those areas, coming down to those people have already bought those areas over from the federal government. And if you look at all those areas now, are owned by, a lot of it are owned by civil servants who are retirees. And presently, in the Nigeria context,
all right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you very much.
If we also discuss the areas owned by civil servants, this program will
not live here.
We'll need another 24 hours.
But Kaide, let's also look at it.
So let it
is it the job of the FCTA to remind residents of, about the payment of their ground rent or tenement rate, or is it just do they, as a tenant, does the landlord have to remind you to pay your?
Yes. So see, bros.
I'm just hearing.
I like to be very very practical. In my estate or where I live, most times when we get compliance and people paying up their dues, their stuff, is when we publish their names. When we remind them.
Or lock the gates.
Or lock the gates. You know the strategy. Bros, leave that thing. Why I'm saying leave that thing is that not many people are disciplined like you to say that, oh, by January, I'm going to pay for my 6 months. Oh, this thing is going to expire. In most places where people are that organized, there is a unit, there is a department who probably check that record. For example, in TVC now, there is a department who checks our papers for all the cars and all the buses that we have. That person is not going to wait for VIO to stop us or tell us all those things. But in most cases, there is absolutely nothing wrong. In FCTA, in the case of FCTA, they published, they warned, they even did a notice on national dailies. So it's obvious that some of these big names that have not done so are only calling the bluff of the minister. They can afford it. It's not an assumption. Do you understand? We know how much some of them spend in hotels and do stuff like that. So what stops you from doing the right thing? So please, it is not wicked that wins. when you stoop.
It's the system.
You
It is the
understand?
system.
It's the system, and you're promoting the system. Like
And you
we can
can't be
say,
more powerful
some of
than
them
the
have
system.
properties outside the country. They can't even try it. They can't
Yeah,
even
the
think
system.
about it.
Absolutely.
They comply 100%.
All right, gentlemen, we need to go on this quick break. And when we return, the conversation continues. Don't go anywhere. Still Journalist Hangout.